Yo, yo. Had to start us off with a banger. That's Where You Are by John Summit and Hala. It came out last week or 2 weeks ago. Yo, follows, what's up? Um, let's get our regularly scheduled tunes going. Unfortunately, I was not here last week due to being on vacation, but we are back at it. We got a nice deep and dub techno mix for today. Hopefully the levels are good. Just want it to be like nice background music. And let's dive straight into these charts. Let me see one thing really quick with Chatbox. I usually have to refresh the cache. Let me just see if that's... There we go. Alright. Cool. Should be all good now. Just gotta watch the levels with the music. Yeah. Alright. So, diving straight into things. Big old bad BTC. Been monitoring this high time frame bearish cipher for a while. It's getting there, slowly but steadily. I mean, you could argue that was probably close to, if not a 618 retrace, would be my guess. Look at that, 618. Got rejected though. We did SFP on the daily, and 3-day has another day left. I also didn't realize, or I forgot that because US went back. Daily close is actually not for another hour, so I might have to. I don't know. We'll see if we make it fully to the end, but will definitely be interesting. Yo, Raymond, what's good? But yeah, ultimately, what I want to see here is continuation higher. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't. In my opinion, if you look on the weekly, not only did you come in here and take the liquidity from this fair value gap, but you also came and retested this breaker. I mean, you could argue this kind of like section here almost as like your breaker in a sense. So it's almost like the unicorn setup that I know Tyler loves. I traded it quite a bit. So just on high time frame scale. And I noticed also on the daily here, we kind of have like another one of those where you have what I believe the technical term is called a IOFED. I forget. I don't know what it stands for. I know it's like an ICT term, but ultimately it's like right when you tap into the fair value gap, just barely, and then you kind of bounce. So we're kind of doing that here. I think ultimately, if you were to be looking for like swing positioning, I mean, I think ideally you would have wanted to enter on that tap into the fair value gap. But let's say maybe you get some sort of push back down, maybe a little further, or if we get some sort of, yeah, because M15, it's just kind of sideways consolidation, bit of chop. Hourlies, yeah, nothing really great. I suspect we might push down a bit more, probably clean up some of those lows before we continue higher. So I think that'll give you a good opportunity, but I think ultimately, if you get a daily close below 23,000, that's no bueno. But until then, I think this does look great for continuation. I know the SFP is a little bit concerning, but ultimately, you still have this daily imbalance up here that hasn't been taken, as well as this one up here, where I'm mostly interested because it's right at that PCZ. So ultimately, BTC, in my opinion, looks great for continuation. I've had a pretty bullish bias on it past couple of weeks. I missed most of this. I think last stream we did was on the 1st. So yeah, so like right here. So I did get a little bit of a pullback, but I missed most of this while I was gone. So definitely still holding a bullish bias. I see the argument for like a 3 drives kind of scenario, but I think we are going to continue higher until at least that 28, 29k level to complete the cipher. You may get a reaction a little bit beforehand, maybe in this fair value gap. But I like this one up here because you are kind of coming into this supply area. So for me, that's where I would be looking for high time frame reversals, maybe a swing short back down to maybe fill some of these imbalances, because I do think they will get mitigated again. I don't know if we're going to see fresh lows. You asked me back here, I'd say yeah, but ultimately, like, this has been pretty bullish. I saw a couple people doing that market maker sell model idea, and obviously that got invalidated once we broke up here like this. So yeah, this ultimately for me is very in the cards, what I'm looking for next. Jumping into ETH, because as always we start with the main two. ETH surprisingly does not look as good in my opinion. I mean, yeah, you're still same kind of setup in a ways, but it's definitely a bit weaker. I want to look at ETH to BTC after this because I saw some stuff going around on Twitter, some people marking it up, and I think it's interesting to keep in mind. So let me just have some tea. We got the Mitre, TA with Mitre, another streamer, his mug. I'm just a piece of bread man mug, so. Hey Tobias, I am from New York. So with ETH, I am also kind of keeping tabs on this like high time frame bat. I think it will take a considerable amount of time. I think BTC will very likely hit this before this has made any sort of serious move. Tallahassee. Disrespect. But yeah, I don't know. I do like this on the grander scale. I just think it might take a little bit. You'll probably come up, range here, maybe chop, and then you'll probably get like a bigger swing move maybe towards the end of the year. Or this might not even be like valid, might not play out. But I do like the harmonic on BTC considerably more just with the way it's been reacting and moving. But ETH, I think, ultimately will kind of just get dragged around wherever BTC wants to go. It is relatively kind of like flat here in a sense. Like I think we still have this now you have relatively equal highs like right there. So like I would not be looking to short ETH for the time being. But I would expect just some probably more ranging here, unless BTC really starts picking up. Then you'll likely take the highs, and you have some. I think 20k or not 20k, 2k is like the big target where I think major resistance going to be. But ultimately, my vibe for now, if I were to like mark this up, what am I looking at range wise? I would say probably this low, probably that high originally. I mean, you could probably adjust it a bit, maybe if we're going more the thing. I don't really like that low though, because it really like this makes more sense to me as a low because it's been tested and held here, and then it deviated. This is actually a really clean 3-tap in a sense, also kind of like a 3 drives because this one did have the wicks lower, but we never closed out of it. 11:45 p.m. God bless you, bro. Thank you for coming by and watching the stream. Thank you for the sub. Appreciate it. So yeah, I think ETH is pretty much range bound for the time being. Eventually we'll probably go up, sweep the highs. 20k is going to be like a big resistance. But I think ultimately, like BTC, if you're looking between the two to trade, I think BTC is better for longs for the time being. We'll take a quick look at ETH to BTC. Yeah, I have no idea what False just said in chat. I am not a German speaker, so hold on, give me one sec. not vibing with that song. Nah, I want more like this vibe. Yeah. Oh, there we go. So the majestic multi-year range from 2021. Let's look at this on the weekly, because I mean that's really the scale that you want to use for this. So you have this beautiful range. We're right at the point of control, which is pretty much at EQ of the range, ironically. So what I'm thinking is kind of going to be the deal is, since we're closing, looking like we're going to close pretty bearish, probably come down, retest this, maybe come back up, retest the point of control. I think you'll then go down, mitigate some of this. It'll come back up, kind of like a failed, or go to retest. It'll be a successful auction. Maybe you get like a low time frame deviation, get everyone hyped out. I don't know if it'll take this low, but I think ultimately you're going to come up, clean those highs. I think this is kind of going to be like building liquidity in a sense. So almost like that. I don't know how to do the inverse ones. I can do it like this. Something like this, where you get your, oh, that looks disgusting. How do I fix this? Turn off the magnet. Yeah. Something like that. Or it just kind of builds up and then it pops. But yeah, this is probably going to take quite a bit of time to play out. But I think BTC, you'll get your opportunities for some like SMT type plays with ETH. But I think BTC is the better one to be looking for longs until this ideally comes down a bit lower. See if there's a harmonic here, maybe. A 3-day might provide something, because you would have, where would be your low? Frenzy, what's good? This kind of looks like almost a Gartley. Yeah, checking out that way. So maybe you come down, maybe you get like a reaction at the I don't know, 786 or somewhere around there. Then it maybe comes down, makes a confirmation low for the 886. Which would probably be, let's see. Yeah, somewhere, yeah, right around like here. And then you come back and eventually make your way up higher. I think ETH will have its time to shine. And I think once these highs are taken, you have this big liquidity void. I'm sure it's more visible on the weekly. Let's see if I marked it correctly. Yeah, we did tap into it, but really still has to be mitigated. It doesn't have to be, but it will likely be mitigated. And you can see it literally came up, almost tested it. So I think that's the draw in time. Altcoins, if ETH to BTC goes down, I don't know. I'm not like you'd have to look at like BTC dominance, which honestly looks pretty boss. I love how I had the ice lines plotted from way back when. Or actually, this is pretty much the chart, but I think these are levels on daily, or maybe it was this first wick. But as you can see, 39% has been pretty good bottom. You are in. I don't know how valid TA is on something like this. I don't see why you can't do it, but the ice lines, zinga. Make them go up. But yeah, you do have your equal highs here. Ultimately, I think 50% is going to be like a resistance. You'll probably range a bit. But yeah, BTC is definitely like the better bet in the time being. You also have on the weekly a W1, well, confirmed in 4 days. Yo, Sierra, I didn't even realize you were in here. What's good? Weekly has like your classic, or actually no, I used the wrong high for it. You'd use this one. Your market structure break with the raid. So this looks good for continuation. Maybe get a pullback, give some alts room to breathe. Sometime next week would be my guess, because this looks pretty strong right here. But yeah, I think I never really look at the dominance chart. I look at more ETH to BTC, but ETH BTC is trending down in my opinion with the potential for this harmonic, but I wouldn't put too much emphasis on it because it's not the best contextual spot. You'd want like something down here. So we'll see. All right, so that was the core 2. Let's dive into some alts. I'm curious to see how they've been doing since we last looked at them. Have a good one, mate. You can always rewatch it later. It's recorded, so peace. So hey, what do you say? Some more ice lines for you, but Algo has fallen out of that channel. Not looking very good at all. Pretty much clinging on to this low, it looks like, in a sense. I don't know if I can get it right on it. Yeah, I think I have to fix it. Yeah. Yeah, so that was like the Pico low back in June 20th. It is retested it there as resistance, then came up, broke through it. So ultimately, you want to see this hold. Otherwise, 1.589 next. So be careful with alts, or at least this one doesn't look very promising. I again wouldn't be really interested until you get back up to 2450, and then you can easily scalp it, in my opinion, for a quick little... I can't even read the thing. Hold on. Yeah, for like a 20% scalp, if you're willing to hold it, like you can see it works. So yeah, maybe not scalp, swing, because it'll take a few days, but easy trade in my opinion if you're a crypto trader. Unfortunately, I don't consider myself one of those anymore, but man, this mix is not that great. I was excited to try it out. All right, let me give this other one a try. Hold on one sec, guys. I'm looking for, like, you know, dub techno is very like hit or miss. It's like either just very like dark aggressive, or it's like the nice like... All right, there we go. That's better. So that's Algo, old Dino-ish coin. I don't even know what this was. I think this... All right, maybe this was... Wait, was this from the... Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah, so I never actually took this, but I was, like, envisioning... I think we were looking at something on lower time frame. I was like, oh, this would be interesting in validation play, and clearly would have gotten wrecked. Ultimately, 1330... is the level to watch, in my opinion, for this thing. As you can see, and I'm even gonna mark out this level here. There we go. Yeah. We could not... You could even consider that like a little range-ish. We could close above it here. Finally broke through, came back down, chop city. Came back, retested it, resistance, came back down, retested the high from like when it first started trading. That held as support, came back up, kind of wicked up, retraced it, now you're dumping. So my draw, in my opinion, like if you're a scalper, you have this beautiful unmitigated daily imbalance. That is my high time frame draw. You have some crispy lows on H4 there. You do have a big imbalance up here. So in my opinion, and honestly, this looks pretty clean as like a market maker sell model kind of deal. So like, if I was a trader, well, I am a trader, but if I was to trade this, I would be looking for that as my original consolidation, and just some levels that you could look for in terms of this. Because let's see, let's go back to H4, see if there's anything. Yeah, you could argue that here you had, oh, this is beautiful. You have your smart money reversal where liquidity objective was satisfied. You took liquidity on the daily with that SFP. We now have this H4 imbalance. This is a daily FEG. Let me just mark that up. So what you would want to see, and I'll go to H1 because it'll probably give a little bit of a cleaner picture. So, and then this is H4. All right. So what I would be thinking in terms of this, like how you could play this, because you have your reaccumulation here, smart money reversal. You probably had some SMT with BTC or something. Curious. No, maybe ETH. No, but that could have just maybe on lower time frame there was a raid or something, probably really low time frame. But ultimately, there in that H4 imbalance is where I would be looking for. This is probably just gonna like crawl up, maybe pop up, and then ultimately wait for your structure shift with some displacement, and then you can short. That would be target 1 in my opinion. But ultimately, another target that I would be looking for, oops, is it gonna let me copy it? There we go. Is sell side liquidity down here. The only thing is, I probably would, I might just even like target this imbalance here before 1020, because again, like that's gonna act as a resistance point. Yo, Alejito, what's up? We're looking at APT, this kind of potential market maker sell model with some ice lines and random drawings on here. But yeah, that would be my area for shorts. You even have, I would say like 1330 should be like you do not want to see price close above there. So, I mean, maybe if you wanted to be like aggressive and try to top catch it, I'd probably throw my stop over the high that we originally rated back here. And then you could have like a nice like 2R play and or like 3.5, something like that. So I'll leave this. We'll revisit it next Wednesday, see if the bias was right on this. But that's ultimately what I like, or what I think on APT. Yeah, exactly. ASTR, we'll jump on over to. I know Victor was looking at this. He had a bag, and wow, what a beauty. Almost like it was meant to be. Look at this. Since the inception, all the way down to the lows, a perfect retest of the 236 fib. I'm sure there was some sort of imbalance there that you filled on the weekly. Yep, pretty much almost fully filled it, just shy. You did tap into, or no, you didn't make it to the 3-day FEG. Interesting. So my guess would be this is gonna probably carve out for a while, and I think if you come back down to these lows, as long as it doesn't really, maybe you get even like a quick wicks, take out the stops below here, as long as it doesn't like nuke, I think this could be good for accumulation for like long-term spot or something. I don't know if I would recommend it per se. It's kind of a S coin, but if that's like in your wheelhouse, I think the upside potential is promising. I think you could get like a 382 or the 0.5 to take out that high, but I wouldn't be looking for too much more. But we'll see how next cycle is. You never know. Yo, Abhishek, I think I pronounced that right. Apologies if I did not. Oh wow. So Adam did not make it back to our, well, actually it was a perfect retest of this ice line from Where was the inception? The inception was Wednesday or Tuesday, January 20th, 2021. Look at that. Almost probably to the cent. Let's see, 219. The low was 240. All right, so it was off by 0.021 cents, but just goes to show. So yeah, this looks really strong in my opinion. You had your initial low, you had your type 1. I think if you're looking for an alt, in my opinion, Atom, if it keeps doing what it's doing here, because look at this, the buyback, incredible. You did fill those imbalances. Ultimately, I think you have relatively equal highs. Check uni. Yeah, I see it. Oh, wait, do you mean like uni as in like the crypto, or like the fact that this is kind of like a low time frame uni? Unless you meant something completely different and I'm just brainwashed. Yeah. It's funny, we were talking about that earlier on BTC here, and also like kind of ETH, though BTC's is a bit cleaner on the daily. But yeah, Atom looks pretty mint, not gonna lie, for an alt. So I think ultimately your targets are now 14,786, around like $14 to $15. Though I would expect all of these highs to eventually get taken, so looking at upwards of 1776. So this is where I was originally looking to potentially like play it. Yeah, I know, it was beautiful in BTC. It was like a IOFED or whatever they're called. Think it's still a good chance to enter this trade. I mean, I'm potentially looking. The thing is, I got to put my money where my mouth is. I've only really been DCAing BTC and ETH, but I may look to scoop a small bag of Atom and just forget about it for like a year or two. However, I did want it lower. I just didn't capital. I wanted it at the 886 down here because I thought this was going to be like a bat. But it did turn out to be a Gartley. It is performing well. It is looking extremely strong. I'm sure if I throw a volume indicator on, like volume's coming in. So, I mean, you have like a couple ways to play this now, in my opinion. Since, I mean, maybe 12 hour has like a cleaner. I mean, I probably wouldn't want to see it come back below this imbalance now that you've like done that thing on H12 daily. I'm sure like it's tough because like I don't know where I would put my stop loss here in terms of it for it to be like good R to R. I mean, I guess like if you go on lower time frame, there might be like a better reason, but I could still see us pushing down again. Like maybe take the lows and then we eventually go up. So I would wait for either low time confirmation. If you're buying spot, you could probably buy spot, walk away, forget about it for a little bit, set some alerts for like $15 area. But ultimately, it's your trade, your risk. Just gotta play it smart. But yeah, about like a 23% upside, I think, from here till that 1540 would be a good target. BNB was one that I thought looked really good. It's not really doing so much. It had resistance at 330 at that ice line. Couldn't really do anything. It is holding up well here in comparison to some other ones. It's only down like 86% on the day. 20 USD, please. Oh, you bought yesterday? Let's go. Oh, wait, are you down then? If you bought yesterday, you're probably a little bit down, but unless you got in like here, but I hope so for your. I think you'll get it in time. That's like the 382 fib. What else is up there? I don't know. Not a lot, because once you clear, I would say 1765. It's pretty much up and down till about 28. So 1765 is where I think you're going to have some good resistance, or some strong resistance. Resistance is no bueno, but that's where I'd be looking to see how it reacts. BNB, though, doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look great, in my opinion. We're just kind of a nothing burger right now. It is relatively good on the daily. It's just high time frame. In the middle of nowhere, I wouldn't really position myself. Breaker zone on the monthly? Oh, I can imagine. I'm just going to keep going just for time today, but... ooh, Doge. Alright, so if we are going to get kind of like a slow bleed on some alts while ETH falls back down, like we were looking at the ETH BTC chart, Doge, in my opinion, 19... or, yeah, like, just shy of 2 cents is where if I'd probably buy a bag and just forget about it and just wait until next cycle, wait for the Elon tweets, wait for people to roll in. I don't know if you'll ever reclaim 74 cents, just given like the fact that it's printed into insanity, but you have this massive liquidity void here where I could see it a quick wick down, sucks it right up. And I think ultimately from there, like the risk to reward is pretty good. Like you could throw a stop like right there. I mean, 64% downside to, I mean, ultimately I would be targeting 16 cents as like my first target, 718% upside. So that's like a, what's the R to R on that? If I were to, yeah, like 10R. But ultimately, like even if you're relatively equal highs here, 13, like it's a good swing play, especially if you're holding a bit of spot. So that interesting. I'll set some alerts for below it. We'll see if it goes. But yeah, no, this thing is actually, this idea is holding up fairly well. I really like this beautiful 786 retrace on this low here. So this, as long as you don't take out C, it's valid. So I expect to slow bleed down. Doge is probably one of the better alts to be shorting if you're trading it. And yeah, LDO. I tried taking a scalp on it. I think it was Monday or something, just for fun. Did not work out well, unfortunately. Got a bit chewed up in it, so I'm just looking at the fibs. Not really, we're just kind of like bouncing between the levels. I'm gonna take this off for a minute so we can look at some ice lines, kind of see where we're reacting and such. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, like I could probably do some more like lower time frame ones. Maybe, yeah, I like that because, yeah. What would I be looking at here? I don't know. There's a pretty strong rejection from these highs, implying that it's probably going to go lower. But we are in an imbalance. You do have some imbalance above now. So maybe some like chop here. And then eventually I think this low will probably get swept. I'm pretty sure, yeah, this rated that low. But I mean, like, you probably have, like, it barely did it. You probably have stops below it. So I think that would be a good target. And if I just throw the fibs back on from here. Yeah, you have the 886 right at those equal lows. So retesting that wouldn't be out of the question, in my opinion. It could eventually go higher, but I think for time being, until alts get their time in to shine, it will be cooling off for a bit. It is down 17% on the day too. Sheesh, I didn't even realize that. Link. Every time I look at this, I chuckle because it's just absolute garbage, in my opinion. It just, like, to trade it, like, if you're a range trader, like, this is probably your steez. Quick plays back and forth, but there's nothing exciting about this. So we'll move on to the next. Matic. Not sure why I have that marked like that. Was that supposed to be like supply? Yeah, I don't. Alright, I'm just gonna take that off. High time frame though, Matic is making a good pullback from the highs that we set during the 2022 cycle. We did come down a couple days ago, retest that 236 fib almost to the T. You do have relatively equal lows, so I probably would expect maybe a sweep of those and then a reclaim of this before going higher. It kind of looks like LDO in a sense in that same kind of like downwards push. So that's general bias on Matic would be bearish, at least for the time being. Like H4 is bearish, so, and I think daily is as well. Yeah. I could also see it even coming down like here, because if you have your original like consolidation, you have like a bunch of lows, right? You have a ton of lows right here actually. So keep this on the burner. Near, sad to say, it was unable to really do anything at the 286. It got rejected from the X. And just kind of been selling off. Maybe this is its real confirmation low. Like you get that type 1, type 2, and then you get that reversal just after filling the imbalances. So again, near could have its time to shine, but certainly not anytime soon, in my opinion. Let's see. I want to see where this is. If I, yeah, look at that. What a beauty. So yeah, it's 160, 1.661 is interesting. Yeah, Ramon, we'll certainly check that out. We got like 3-4 more alts on my list, and then we'll take a look at GMX, and I'll mark it up for you. So if you're in Chroma, I posted about this earlier this week, and ironically, it's not really looking that great. This was something we looked at on stream before I went away. Started playing out to a T. The only thing is we are now kind of rejecting from range lows, which is bearish in my opinion. Like that's not good. And it kind of lines up with that whole alts maybe not being in the best place right now. But if you do get a reclaim of this, I think these highs and then some of these above targets will be good for a swing in time. Otherwise, I think kind of similar to near, it's probably going to come back down a bit lower. But we'll see what the PA gives us. Definitely it's down about 8% on the day though, so not too hot. Sushi, similar to Link. We're almost running out of that range. Just gotta extend that. Not very exciting. Sushi and Link are like 2 peas in a pod. Mana was like, I think this was a supply block I was looking at. Mana doesn't really, just kind of back down in the consolidation range, in my opinion. Let me see this. Yeah. Just kind of ranging here. Like, it's not really doing much. It'll probably slow bleed, and then it'll pop again. I don't know. Shib, what the heck? Oh my god, this is from when I tried to challenge. Didn't really work out too well. Unfortunately, I think I lost. I think I hit my max drawdown, which was I was only gonna let myself lose a quarter or 25% of the account, but then I ended up making some back when I closed out my position. So, but yeah, this, I don't know. It's just kind of dying. Doesn't really look great either. Wouldn't really focus on that idea too much. It would, if it would have done it, it would have done it there. But let's jump over to GMX. Thank you for the sub, by the way. Appreciate you. Okay. The futures chart on Binance does not have too much data, so I'm just gonna have to go with their spot chart, which doesn't have a ton more, but at least gives me enough that I can work with it. So, and probably, whoops, not that one. I wanted this high. There we go. So that's kind of like how I do my ice lines. I either use candle closes or wicks on typically the daily. Sometimes I'll do it on the weekly if it's like a really old chart. But ultimately, if you can close the daily here in 42 minutes above 77.43, I think this looks great for continuation higher. You have your buy side liquidity target. If you want to have a secondary one, well, you took this one here right now, or you're very close to. I don't think you hit it quite yet. So it might leave relatively equal highs, which would be a good target for tomorrow. I do like, you swept this low, you swept this low, you came back and filled this imbalance, which is basically, and if Alejito's still here, is your classic uni setup, where you have your supply turned into a breaker. You could even, like, I'm sure, do it like that if you want. Still valid because it didn't really wick out of it. And then that would be your market structure break. So yeah, this looks great as long as you get this close above 77.43, I think. If you reject from that, that might be a little concerning. But yeah, you are going to SFP on the 4 hours, so I would expect probably a pullback. Ultimately, I'd say maybe if we dip down here, look for low time frame confirmation to look for a push back up for these further targets. But ultimately, it looks bullish. Like, everything about it is bullish. There's nothing, in my opinion, that screams, oh, this is bearish. So you have your targets above. If you're looking for expansion targets, like how far could this go type deal, I'm going to go back to the original high and low. Yeah, so 1618 would probably be 92, and then probably psychological 100, but ultimately I'd probably just be looking for the buy side liquidity. So hopefully that gave you some insight. Low time frame, again, like I mentioned, we're rating it currently on the 4 hour here, so I would expect a pullback. You do have an H4 imbalance here, so I think that would be my point of interest if we do get a pullback for longs. So you can mark that on your charts between 74.82, 74.19, and then from there you can look for higher prices. And again, like, you could easily, I'm not saying to just like blind bid it. I'd probably wait for confirmation, but if you were to like blind bid it or something, I'd probably just have my stop below the breaker, because again, like, I would not want to see it come back down there again. And you could get like a 2.5R for this buy side liquidity, or maybe even get out for 2R here. But that's GMX. Yeah. Hopefully you found some value in that. We'll head over to Forex, which got absolutely nuked today. So this was a harmonic that I looked at before, again, I went on my vacation. PCZ would be at about 1.03. So my expectation is we'll probably come up, fill the imbalance, and then eventually sell off into this in the coming week or so. So that's thoughts on EU. Pound, though, on the other hand, Pound, in my opinion, looks better to me. We have this massive monthly imbalance above. You have this nice range that now we've had a 1, a 2, and a 3. Excuse me. Do you not see what is going on here, people? This is... I wish I had like some like buttons to do like sound effects or something, because wow. Holy cow, this looks lovely. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. And look at this. So I think EU will have its time. Don't get me wrong. I just think that pound looks phenomenal here. Oh my Jeebus. So good. Ultimately, what you could do... I don't swing trade, but what you could do if you're a swing trader, in my opinion, that would be like my play. You could probably just target value area highs, but... Wow. This looks exceptional. GU. Yeah. Unicorn mixed with a 3-tap. It's so bullish, in my opinion. So... Even low time frame, it's starting to wind up, which looks great. So... Just keep your eyes on it. Euro to pound. I've been following this high time frame Gartley. That's massive. And we're starting to slowly come down. It looks like the high's in. So I think GU is going to be a lot stronger. Again, looks amazing for longs here. And yeah, that's just that on that. Quick running into indices. Because I do have to go in a little bit, unfortunately. It's a little bit short of a stream tonight. But indices, we have a market maker sell model where you can see took liquidity from the high, tapped into daily FBG, tapped into daily BPR. Now you have a daily FBG above. This is like your silver bullets. So this should ultimately come up, and then down here it's the sell side liquidity. So shorts on this in the coming week or two, or like this week into next week probably. NASDAQ. I don't have as clean of a read on. This low though would likely get taken. And then in terms of my bias, something I mentioned in Chroma, now that we've taken equal lows here and the sell side liquidity here, we are going to push up. We have a massive monthly imbalance, so I think it'll be interesting to see how GU does in comparison with it, but I think whenever it gives room to breathe or pulls back, GU is going to rip. And then likewise for, I think once Dixie starts getting going, this is going to really start to sell off. So that's kind of just my general thoughts on the market. We'll touch back again on next Wednesday and see if they've kind of aligned with what I said. But otherwise, have an awesome rest of your week, and I will catch you next Wednesday. Again, apologies for cutting it a little short tonight. I just have to go take care of some other stuff. But we will be back, and yeah, peace. Have a good night.